You know, I love doing stories on successful black business people from back in the day. And this story is about a guy named John Dolphin, better known as Levin John, who was one of the first music industry moguls. He was a owner of a few record labels, a music producer, a publisher, one of the first black men to own a record store, a radio broadcaster, and many other things in the 1940s and 1950s. Now, this man, John Dolphin, was a true pioneer, y'all. He's considered to be the creator of the crossover music concept way before Barry Gordy and the whole Motown empire. He actually inspired Barry Gordy. And look, the godfather of soul, James Brown, said that John Dolphin was the first black man to be successful in the music business. He helped push all the music genres from rock and roll, jazz, and rhythm and blues to the top mainstream. And he dealt with a lot of racism and racial segregation trying to make it in Hollywood at that time in the 1950s. He was also a social activist, an African American leader in the beginning of the civil rights movement. But the way he died in a room full of people is just crazy though. So let's get into the story, right? Now, John Dolphin was born on April 9th, 1902 in Beatrice, Alabama. And at a very young age, around 3 years old, he and his parents ended up moving to Boley, Oklahoma. Now, his father was a successful farmer and he owned a lot of land. And growing up, John Dolphin, he grew up in the times of segregation, but he was around all the black people. Everything was segregated. Everyone in his town was black. The cops was black. The teachers was black. The doctors was black. Everything. That's how it was back then. So after graduating high school, he went to college in Ohio, and then he became a car salesman in Detroit, Michigan. After that, he went to California to open up a record store. And in 1948, he opened up the first 24-hour record store called Dolphins of Hollywood on Central Avenue in Los Angeles. He had purchased the record store from a guy named Forrest Perkins. That record shop had been open since 1929. Now, John Dolphin really wanted the store to be in Hollywood, though. That was the dream, to put the store in Hollywood. But, during that time, the white people, they refused to let him put a black-owned record store there, or any black business for that fact. During that time, they was not going to let a black man rent anything in Hollywood. California was really racist back then. The head of the LAPD at that time was a guy named Chief William Parker, who was considered the most racist police chief in American history. Wow. So when he couldn't open up a record shop in Hollywood, he decided to open up a shop in South Central Los Angeles. He had it on Central Avenue. And he had Central Avenue flooded with musical talent like Beale Street in Memphis was, or Harlem in New York. All the black people used to come there. Matter of fact, all the races would come to his shop. White, black, Latino, everybody. His Dolphins of Hollywood record store was also one of the first record stores to feature listening stations so customers, could listen to new records. Plus, he was the first. Now, check this out. John Dolphin was the first to offer buy one, get one free for purchases of any record in the store. Wow. This man created the concept of buy one, get one free. Now, he also had a recording studio built in the store, and he would let white and black DJs from the radio station KRKD broadcast live from the store. People could watch the DJs through the window. He had a stage, a dance floor where people could perform and dance. It was, you know what? It was genius marketing and promotion because he would play the music of the artist he signed at the record store. The man cut records in the back of his store, then broke the record on a radio station that broadcast in the front window of his store. That's a genius idea, man. That's crazy. Look, the song Earth Angel by the Penguins was broken and introduced on a radio station at his store. And Sam Cooke's You Send Me. Now, John Dolphin helped and sign a lot of artists who did R&B, rock and roll, blues, gospel, jazz, even country western music, making him one of the first black independent record label owners and R&B producers in Los Angeles at that time. He actually had a few record labels, like Recorded in Hollywood Records, Lucky Records, Money Records, and Cash Records. Some of the famous musicians you might have heard of that came to visit the Dolphins Hollywood record store: Billie Holiday's to come there, Louis Armstrong, James Brown, Sam Cooke, Cab Calloway, and many more. Rudy Ray Moore, y'all know Rudy Ray Moore, Dolomite. Dolomite got his start in the music business recording for John Dolphin's Cash Records. Because you know, Rudy Ray Moore used to be in a group called Rudy Ray Moore and the Rayettes. Now, that store, the Dolphins of Hollywood record store, would have so many people there that the police would show up and just shut the record store down due to the large crowds. Thousands of people would be out there lined up around the corner. Wow. People would just hang out in the parking lot and everything, dance, listen to music, whatever. But see, here's the thing though. That made the police mad. The police would be out there just turning all the white kids away from the store. The white teens used to go to the record store to hear black music. And the older white people was worried that the white girls would be out there dancing with the black boys. That record store also had a big fan base in the Latin community too. And you know, the police would tell the white teens, they would tell the white teens to not go to the store because they might get hurt or raped by a black person or something. And then they would just harass and arrest the black teens for nothing. And look, they would even arrest John Dolphin a lot because they saw all the racists getting along and becoming friends with each other and integrating. They hated race mixing, especially that LAPD police chief William Parker. He hated race mixing. The harassment and the intimidation got so bad that John Dolphin, he organized a protest. It was a peaceful protest with 150 other black business owners against the LAPD. That's how bad it was. William Parker, the chief of LAPD at that time, he hated to see different races of people getting along. And he would just cause John Dolphin a lot of problems. And really, he's the cause of the downfall of the store. All that because it got to the point that people just stopped showing up because they didn't want to get harassed by the police. But then, y'all, on February 1st, 1958, John Dolphin was murdered in his office in front of people. Now, the story goes, a 26-year-old man named Percy Ivy, who worked as a shipping clerk, he was married with kids and everything, but he was also a musician. He was a songwriter trying to make it in the music business, right? And the month before, which was January, he had gave John Dolphin 4 songs he had written. He actually recorded the songs at John Dolphin's studio. And I guess they made a deal like John Dolphin was supposed to pay him $250 for each song if he decided to use the songs. But like I said, even though John Dolphin recorded the songs for free at his studio for free of charge, he still wanted some money. And John Dolphin gave him $10. And he told Percy Ivy he'll let him know if he decides to do something with the songs he had written. So after a while, another music company wanted to buy Percy Ivy's songs. So Percy Ivy went to the office and asked John Dolphin to either buy the songs for $250 a piece or give him the songs back because he had the master copies in the studio. And plus he gave John Dolphin his $10 back. But John Dolphin, threw the $10 back at Percy Ivy and told him he's keeping the songs and there's nothing he's going to do about it, and kicked him out of his office. So after that day, Percy Ivy kept calling John Dolphin and going to his office, pleading with him to please give him the master copies to his music or pay him the money he owes him. And that's when John Dolphin told him that he was going to get his goons. He was going to get his men to take care of Percy Ivy. Because, he had a reputation now. John Dolphin had a reputation of being ruthless when he had to be, if you play with him. Next thing you know, Percy Ivy goes up to his office with a gun for his protection because he knows John Dolphin really got guys that will hurt him, and he's a powerful man and he's capable of making his threats happen. So Percy Ivy goes up there scared to death, he feared John Dolphin. He just wanted his music back and the money he owed him, but he was scared when he went up there. So that day, February 1st, 1958, Percy Ivy confronted John Dolphin in his office. And they got into a little dispute, arguing, whatever. And that's when John Dolphin pulled out a knife. And when he pulled it out, Percy Ivy pulled out his gun and fired 5 to 6 shots, point blank range. And he hit John Dolphin in his chest. John Dolphin fell over. He was slumped over the gas heater. And the police were called. And when they arrived, John Dolphin was still alive, but he later died from his wounds. He had died on the way to the hospital. Now, here's the crazy part, though. There were 5 people in the office when the whole thing went down. The whole shooting went down. There was 5 people there. Out of the 5 people, there were 3 teenagers. The teenagers that was there and witnessed the whole murder was songwriter, piano player, Bruce Johnston, who later on would join the legendary rock and roll group, the Beach Boys, Sandy Nelson, who later would become a legendary drummer in the music industry, and another teenager named Dave Shostak. At the time, they were all high school sophomore students, but they was in a band together called the Renegades, right? Now, Bruce Johnston from the Beach Boys in an interview spoke about it, what happened that day. According to him, he said they had gone to John Dolphin's office that day to let him hear their demo. But when they got to his office, it was locked. So it was a guy out there too. Percy Ivy was out there. So they was all just waiting, and they started talking to Percy Ivy as they just waited for John Dolphin. So Bruce Johnston decided to go to the payphone and call John Dolphin's office. And that's when some guy that worked at the office let them in the office. And Percy Ivy and John Dolphin saw each other. They started arguing right there in the office in front of Bruce Johnston, Sandy Nelson, and Dave Shostak. Next thing you know, Percy Ivy started shooting John Dolphin. And he said, according to Bruce Johnston, he said, John Dolphin fell on top of a space heater and told Percy Ivy, "You got me. You shot me. I'm dying." Wow. Now, the other teenager, Dave Shostak, was also grazed in the leg by a ricocheting bullet. The crazy part is Bruce Johnston said while they was waiting for the cops to come after Percy Ivy shot John Dolphin, Percy Ivy was negotiating a record deal on doing some work and recording with Bruce Johnston for when he got out of prison. Wow. That's crazy. Now, when police caught up with Percy Ivy, he was walking down the street. And he told the police that he didn't go there to shoot John Dolphin. He just wanted his songs back. He also gave the cops the gun that he shot John Dolphin with, and he gave him a switchblade in which he told the cops that John Dolphin had rushed him with a switchblade. But, Bruce Johnston and the other two teenagers said they didn't see John Dolphin with a switchblade. Now, Percy Harvey and his lawyer went to court and told the judge it was self-defense because John Dolphin had threatened him and he had came at him with a knife. And everybody knows John Dolphin had a bad temper. Now, besides the three teens who witnessed the whole murder, right, there were also two other witnesses that was in the office named Barbara Allen and Arthur Wright. And they said that John did lose his temper. He had a temper. They say John lost his temper and he did rush Percy Ivy. But they didn't see him with a knife though. And Percy Ivy ended up being found guilty and charged with second-degree murder. Now, man, when John Dolphin died, the whole community was in shock and just messed up behind his death because he was the only one who provided the people with an opportunity to be heard on the radio and get their music played and heard around the world. John Dolphin's wife, named Ruth, she would take over the business after he was killed, and a couple more Dolphins of Hollywood stores did open and continue business until 1989 before they finally shut the doors on it. In 2011, John Dolphin's grandson named Jamel Dolphin wanted to keep his grandfather's legacy alive, and he released a book titled Recorded in Hollywood, The John Dolphin Story, in which y'all can purchase on Amazon. So make sure y'all support him on that if y'all want more details on John Dolphin's life. In 2015, Jamel Dolphin also put out a musical stage play called Recorded in Hollywood, The John Dolphin Story. On July 28, 2016, the city of Los Angeles renamed the intersection of Central Avenue and Vernon Avenue to Dolphins of Hollywood Record Square, which was great. And I know his family was thankful to see that happen. But, I want to really give a shout out to John Dolphin's grandson, Jamel Dolphin, for keeping his name alive and letting the world know how important John Dolphin, his grandfather, was to the culture. Like I said, he put out a book, the musical play, and hopefully there's a movie in the works about John Dolphin, aka Levin John, life. John Dolphin was 55 years old when he was murdered. Rest in peace.